Welcome. This is Crime Queen. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is the channel where we get excited about love. This is where we ignite that which comes from within us, that which comes alive, makes us smile. Hence, we say the crimson light is life. So, the crimson light is our journey to actualizing self love. But if you're new to this channel, is that it all derived through my journey of actualizing self-love, where I wrote or published 2 volumes of The Crimson Light, A Bridge to Actualizing Self-Love and Getting onto the Bridge of Actualizing Self-Love. Now I'm having fun with words and numbers. And there we go. Okay, so this I believe is the fifth presentation on water, which derived from our wanting to know the full essence of the word sacrifice. Sacrifice has been one of the main, well, you could say it has been the main instrument for really helping us to unlock the conditions and the beliefs and practices, and just to understand how we make sense of ourselves in the world that we live. Okay, so because I really want a deeper understanding of what constitute my conditionings, my life, and where I am at and where I am going, thence I am pursuing the text that was said, "Behold, I have given you all things, and whatever it is to multiply and subdue and have dominion and all of those things. But to do those things responsibly, I need to know more about my makeup." Hence we are, and I'm glad that you are joining me on this journey to actualizing self-full love and self-knowledge, to be precise. Okay, so we have been exploring water, the word water. Of course, we got this from Luke chapter, the book of the Bible, chapter 22. And I don't think I've memorized the text as much because I'm making reference to it so often. Okay, so from verse 11, it was about Christ, telling one of his disciples to find a man with the pitcher of water. But really, pitcher is something that we need to also explore. But water, because we always hear that water is life, well, why not explore water? We take it for granted. Of course, we have a bottle of water and we know that it's got minerals and the things to keep us, to sustain us. But let's get into the meaty, as in this word, into the meat of water. We wouldn't have wanted to use a term as meat in describing water, but of course, we are qualified to do so after we have really realized that all these words derive from water. If it does not have a relation with water, then we could not really refer to it in that sense as in relation to water. Of course, it is pretty clear here. Otherwise, it doesn't belong or it doesn't make sense. Okay, so we know that we have found 4:8:42 that correlates perfectly with the number of Christ, and it's not in a reverse form, it is actually directly 3 and 2. Here is where we have 3 and 2. 2 is the representation of where that union had taken place with the disciples. I believe that the basket of bread or the bucket of water was all, well, now I say water, but it was supposed to be wine. Still a W, still a W. And that's the thing about this W. If you have watched my presentations before, you would understand the eureka I got on the W. So it is like me talking right now, and I am seeing a double reflection or another reflection of myself. And it only happened when I was doing this presentation and I had this aha moment that W, I could hear it. W, it's like a voice is saying, listen to the syllables, listen to the sound. W. And that's what a W is about. And then the penny drops, so to speak, that the W in the water also is a reflection of ourselves. And of course, these words deriving from water is really denoting or explaining that exact sentiment. So with W in water, it's like a reflection. When we were growing up, of course, or not just growing up, because I grew up, I think that was just really nice and we could just jump into the river. But of course, we would stand on the bank of the river and we would be gazing at the water and seeing all kinds of reflection. That was our mirror, and moving our arms and just doing all sorts of things. And that was the reflection of ourselves in the mirror. But we also know that with reflection, that you can be, depending on what side you are, you can see a reflection, but it may not always be consistent. Well, it is consistent with your position, but how you see yourself today or from the north, it may not be necessarily the same from the south or from the north, although it is the same as what you are being in that moment. Hmm. Isn't that delicious? Wow. Okay, so there we are with water. I wanted to explore, so we have 32 here. Oh, I'm glad to be having my little knobs that I can use now and make. Oh, it's just beautiful with my board, my new board. Okay, so, of course, I didn't mention in the last presentation about how many threes we had, because three we know is so consistent. We have three threes in these total columns 369, 369, 369. We have those. It's not on this board, but it's on. We have done those. That is part of the template. We also have Revelation on the old template. And I would really love to see those words, how they play out on the Revelation. Hmm. That's what I would really love to do. So I think that is going to require, of course, another presentation. So just to keep you well, in line with what's happening on this one here. So we have me, which is 1 9, and I think me is the only 9 that we have. Perhaps it's saying that's the only time we're going to need to pay the inland revenue just once with water. As long as we drink our water, we won't be needing to pay the inland revenue too often. Okay, and we have ram. Now ram, that's really an interesting one, which has total to 5, I believe. RAM, so that's 10 and 4 is, yeah, 14. So 1 and 4 is 5. Now, when we say 14, I really love remembering 14, apart from the fact that I am one of 14 children and I am also number 5 in that 14. So it really resonates with me that the ram adding to number 14 was also seen as or is also seen as a spiritual um animal, or was the ram was, we had the Ra or Ram, those which is still in some customs or religions, it's still a sacred animal. So we have ram, and of course it starts. That's another thing that I would like to do, is see the construct of how those words play out, the construct, like the makeup of what, for instance, R is 9 here, and A is 1, and M is 4. So we see RAM for it. So RAM, let's just look at R. So we have R is here. Oh, I forgot I could take this off actually. Okay, so let's look at this. So this is R, and we have A, and we have M. M is here. So M falls under development. This is where we go through a certain development, and there is a sort of sacredness that happens here, or we are being presented with the opportunity to develop, to take note, to um, to transform, or whatever it is, like they would say, take stock. This is where we take stock, because, or we are meant to take stock before we can go into that new dimension. Of course, the new part is where Satan follows us up to the new, because he's only able to come as far as the end. Here we go. Let's use a different um, ink, or color rather. So it's nice that we can see well how far the ram, this is Satan. So we have 1, 1, 2, 1, 5. So this is the 5 that we see that goes with hair, the new. This 5 is the new. So the RAM, our AM, this is where we pay our dues to the Inland Revenue, and we start that new journey again. So here we see that this coincides perfectly with that the need, we are told, for Christ to have the sacrifice on our behalf to take us from that developmental stage and bring us into the new spirit of Christ. So we continue that journey again. So the ram is really where we have, and we could see, we understand the essence of that sacrificial practice with the ram. So the ram not only it starts with the number 9, ends number 9, Inland Revenue here. This is 1, 9, and then of course, we start that journey again. We do our jazz, but I like the way it starts in the middle, because it's as if we are playing safe now. We have done a journey. We are going through this development here, this M here, and of course, the cycle goes on. I hope you have found this beneficial. I hope you have found this, fun too. And there is one other thing before I conclude. We wanted to, of course, add how many frees we had. We hadn't done that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 frees. And I'm thinking, yes, and of course, they came, the number threes also were constituents of the number 12, like in mate. Now that is interesting. So mate and mate, of course, which constitute the same letters, they both are of 12. Let's see what other 12 that we had another 12 here. We have a rat. We have a rat, R-A-T here. So that would be another 3 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5. And 5 threes are 15. Of course, 1 and 5 is 6. And that takes us into the new position again. So this is where we are with eyes open when we are in the new. We are open eyes. We can see where we are going. We have the light because we have given the faith the fox. We are able to discern where we are going because we have had you could say a street life here, and going through the different motions. So we are doing our gypsy journey here. We're going to headquarters and to pay our inland revenue, and that's how the cycle goes on. So we see here again with the ram is another replica of the story of Christ, or it was the story of Christ really represents the ram. Okay, so there we are. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found it fun. If you like this presentation, remember to click the like button and share, because this is how we do it. We share to actualize in self-love. In the meantime, stay blessed, stay bright, and stay ignited. Namaste. and spill over with love.